Have you ever watched someone walk up to a complete stranger and just start talking? Like it's nothing? No nerves, no awkward pauses, just easy. And you thought, how do they do that? Well, here's the thing. That skill isn't just about being social. Psychology says it gives them a rare mental advantage most people never develop. We're talking about people who talk to strangers easily. And no, it's not just because they're extroverts. It's not because they're naturally confident either. Research actually shows something deeper is going on. These people have trained their brains in a way that creates real psychological benefits. Benefits that affect how they think, how they handle stress, and even how successful they become. So if you've ever wished you could do this, stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly what they have that most people don't. So let's start with the first thing. People who talk to strangers easily have almost zero fear of social rejection. Now that sounds simple, but it's actually massive. Most of us carry something called rejection sensitivity. It's where your brain is constantly scanning for signs that someone might not like you, and it makes you freeze before you even open your mouth. But here's what psychology reveals. People who regularly talk to strangers have literally rewired this fear response. Every small conversation they have is like a rep at the gym. Over time, their brain stops treating a stranger as a threat, and that changes everything. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because this rewiring doesn't just help them talk to strangers, it helps them in every area of life. Studies show that people with low rejection sensitivity are more likely to ask for promotions, pitch bold ideas, and take risks that others won't, all because they stopped being afraid of a simple no. Think about that for a second. Okay, so that's number one. But let's go deeper. The second advantage is something called social curiosity, and this one is fascinating. Research from the University of California found that highly curious people are better at reading others. They pick up on emotions, body language, and subtle cues way faster than average. And people who talk to strangers a lot, they're practicing this skill constantly. Every new face is a new puzzle. Every conversation is new data. So their emotional intelligence grows, while most people stays the same. We've all been there, right? Sitting next to someone on a plane or in a waiting room and just staring at your phone. Nothing wrong with that. But those quiet moments are actually missed opportunities to train your brain. The people who lean in instead of looking away, they're building a mental muscle you can't get from a book. Now here's the third one, and this might surprise you. People who talk to strangers easily are actually better at handling uncertainty. Psychology calls this tolerance for ambiguity, and it's a huge predictor of mental resilience. When you approach a stranger, you have no idea how they'll respond. You're walking into the unknown every single time. And doing that repeatedly teaches your brain to be okay with not knowing the outcome. Studies show this directly reduces anxiety in other areas of life too. Job interviews, new relationships, big decisions. The brain that's comfortable with uncertainty is a calmer, stronger brain. But wait, there's more. Because the fourth advantage connects all of this together. It's something called the weak tie effect. This is real psychology, and it's wild. Research by sociologist Mark Granovetter found that most major life opportunities, jobs, introductions, collaborations, don't come from your close friends. They come from weak ties, people you barely know, acquaintances, even strangers. People who talk to strangers easily are constantly building these weak ties without even realizing it. They're expanding their network of luck without trying, and that gives them access to opportunities that never even reach most people. So let's do a quick recap before we wrap up. First, they've trained their brain to handle rejection without shutting down. Second, their social curiosity makes them emotionally smarter than average. Third, their comfort with the unknown makes them more resilient under pressure. And fourth, they're quietly building a network of connections that opens doors others never see. One rare advantage? It's actually four, all stacked on top of each other. Here's the truth. Talking to strangers isn't really about being social. It's about being brave enough to be uncomfortable for 30 seconds. And your brain rewards you every single time you do it. You don't have to become a different person. You just have to start small. One conversation, one moment of curiosity. That's where it begins. Because the people who seem effortlessly confident, they just started earlier than you. And that's actually great news. Because you can start today. So here's my question for you. Think of one moment where you wanted to talk to someone, but didn't. What held you back? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if this gave you a new way of thinking about connection and confidence, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want more psychology content like this every week. And next time, we're talking about why people who overthink are actually wired differently. You won't want to miss that one.